Well, we've been so hard on our driveway this spring. It's been so wet. It's the middle of June. I haven't even added up how much rain we've had. We've had more than, by far more than average. So anyways, we went and bought this box blade because we've tore up our driveway and gravel's expensive. So we're just gonna try and maintain the gravel a little bit better here and try to keep the crown on our driveways. But anyways, we only used this thing one time so far, and I'm not a huge fan of how we routed the hydraulic hoses, but I'm just gonna quickly fix that, make another pass on the driveway, and keep checking things off the list for the day. So like I say, we've been really hard on our driveway and road into the property this year. It's been so wet, and with all the heavy equipment, we've left ruts and made a bit of a mess of it. So we've always wanted to have a box blade like this to kind of maintain the crown so that the driveway and roads shed their water. We got a couple access roads into some landlords' fields that could benefit from something like this. So time was up, we bought it. We bought a 10-foot MK Martin tilting box blade, pull type obviously, so the rear landing gear at the back tilts so that the blade can contour. And yeah, we're gonna peel back some topsoil and be building up our yard in ways that we've always been dreaming about doing, hopefully this summer. So yeah, well, I'm curious to play with this thing. I've only got a couple minutes on it so far. Now that we've got the hydraulic lines run kind of the way we want them, there's a couple potholes I want to fix real quick before we head out to the field. Justin and I are just sitting here and enjoying a donut and a pop, contemplating what to work on next here, and we have an idea, and it's gonna kind of involve betraying Kyle a little bit and what he thinks he's coming out to work on today. Kyle's on his way here, and we got a few things to clean up around the yard that would really take a couple sets of hands, but I've kind of gotten the hint from Kyle that he hasn't been on a horse in a while, and I actually had it in the back of my mind yesterday that we should go on a productive little horse ride. We've got a field that I tried scouting yesterday. The crop is up too high to drive in a pickup truck or a quad or side by side. You'd trample quite a bit of crop. And I need to get to the other side of that quarter section to see, I can see some weeds growing up on the hillside there. So I need to figure out what chemical we need to spray on that to clean up the field. What perfect application to do that is a horse. So why don't we throw Kyle a little curveball here, and why don't we saddle up a horse for him too? I'll hook up the trailer and get the horses loaded, and let's drag him along and see how this goes. It might get western real quick. Who knows, we might have a rodeo on our hands too. Sorry, Kyle. Uh-oh. Kyle's pulling in. We're busted. You know what else is kind of funny about this is Kyle kind of made a smart comment in the last video about everybody ropes, everybody rides. Oh, we're putting him to the test. Come on. Hi, Kyle.
Hello there. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Sounds like you're out of breath chasing that horse.
She doesn't know what to think of herself. You just said in the last video that everybody ropes and everybody rides, and well, we're holding you to it.
Yeah.
Problem is, the horse I wanted you to ride is the redhead down there.
Oh yeah.
Can't catch her, so this is Dad's horse.
Oh, there we go.
So I guess that's happening. Thanks, Dad. Should the title of this video be Two Farmers Cowboying? Look at all the flowers on this one for Kyle. We're doing it, Harry.
We're really doing it.
This triticale, this was our first field to be seeded with the new drill. This is pretty clean. There's a little bit of stinkweed here, but we're really noticing that 6.5 inch tight spacing is holding back the weeds pretty good. But this field's in a saddle, and when you go over the crest of the hill there and we look across to the other side of the quarter, there's something growing. So let's go check out, see what it is. Oh, that's actually a good sign. It's just stinkweed, but it's already going to seed. Well, that's better than thistle or other things that it could have been. We've had lamb's quarters in this field before, but isn't that crazy? It took us like 2 minutes to get here.
Yeah.
And we don't have 10 pounds of mud stuck to each boot. Yeah, that dog is wanting to be part of the team, and it's the size of a wolf, so you know they're probably on edge. Oh, for how wet it's been, the crop isn't very tall here. It's actually taller by the road where we came in. You would think that the soil would be better down here too. Anyway, there's some toad flax back there too. All that grass growing behind us is brome grass, which from where we were looking over there, it looked like a tall invasive weed, but it's actually just brome grass. Brome grass is what we had planted here when it was in hay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't believe after
Like a little bit of residual, even after crop rotation.
Yeah, this is actually 4 or 5 years of spray. Like it's crazy that the brome grass came back. Wow, look at the thistle
Oh yeah.
right in that low spot there. I've never seen thistle there before. I've seen it down below that dugout we just rode by,
It makes
but
it want to grow in this little ravine that
it's the only spot. That little ravine's been the only spot that there's been real water for the last couple of years, so it obviously had some established roots.
yeah.
But no, this definitely needs to be sprayed. So it's not very often we do this on horseback. Usually it's more for leisure, to go for a ride with the family or something. But that was pretty sweet how quick a work we made of that. And these horses, like the mud's hardly even sticking to their feet. We're not trampling hardly any crop. And we got to the other side of that quarter section. I guess the only other thing that would have been faster is if we used a spotting scope from the truck and just zoomed into the weeds. But no, we're happy with what the field's doing, but surprisingly there's a little bit of thistle and a bit of stinkweed. Stinkweed we're not as concerned about, it's pretty minor weed, but we're gonna need to order our spray here this afternoon and get that over to the contractor that's coming over to spray it this afternoon. Well, we're pretty excited about this field. It's a straight triticale crop. It's a variety called Stampeder, and it was no-tilled directly into stubble with our new horse drill, 6.5-inch spacing. So pretty simple concept, but we're pretty excited for it. It's doing pretty well. The stand looks amazing, and with the 315 pounds of Hesso fertilizer we put on the field, it appears to be coming on strong. I was thinking of using a product called Infinity on here, but if memory serves me correct, you can't seed it down to hay within 10 months. Part of the reason we're silaging this field, this landlord wants this field going back to hay, and we would plant this hay mid-summer. So if we spray this with Infinity now, we're not going to be able to seed it down to hay this summer.
Go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, back to the drawing board. I'm going to have to call Andrew, our agronomist at Premium Ag, and come up with something that can within 10 months or a year, or within the same year even,
Well, yeah,
get
'cause
seeded down to hay.
it's kind of our, late summer fall plans.
Yeah.
So go back to hay over here. So
Anyway, to the next field.
maybe we can start a trend, David, where we check more fields by horseback.
You know what? If we had more time, it's kind of an awkward time of the day to be heading out, but we could definitely do that if we left a little earlier in the day.
Wonder what our viewers will say. Should we check more fields by horseback?
Should we be doing that?
Or should we just continue trying to be farmers and drive pickups and tractors?
I think they're gonna say more fast track. More
This is
horsepower.
real horsepower, though.
That's actually quite a bit of fun for 2 horsepower. Oh, do I have a surprise for you in the shop?
Uh-oh.
Check out that little guy.
After a long day's worth of work,
After a long day's of work, you want a donut?
we got a fresh bake shop.
Yeah, there's a new Safeway in our local town, and they're really pushing the bakery hard, so. There you go, indulge. Do you need a pop or water or something too? So we've unloaded the horses, put them back out to pasture. We should do that kind of stuff more often. Like, you have access to some of these fun toys, and we probably don't milk it enough. But that field there, muddy, wet, grass, and we had to walk to the other side of the quarter. The rest of the fields that we need to take a look at for spraying this week are all fields we can just drive the pickup to and walk 50 feet in. So I don't know if you wanted to come to those, Kyle. You don't have to, but I do need to start figuring out how many acres need to be sprayed. I'm not sure if you guys can see this or not. We'll try and zoom in with the camera, but part of the reason today's video turned into a kind of a crop scouting video is it's the middle of June. We're still seeding because we can't get into a lot of these fields. And the fields that we are in, we're having to go around wet spots in low-lying areas, which is fine. We can deal with that, but we're still getting some frost. I don't even know what day it is today, but it is... I left my phone in the truck. It's at least the middle of June, and we're still getting frost and a lot of wet weather. So this field is a sorghum Sudan. It's seeded every 13 inches with Italian annual ryegrass, every 13 inches making it 6.5. But we keep getting frost, but the sorghum Sudan is not frost tolerant. So if you guys check out these lines, like you can see the lines in the field, this field was only seeded about a week ago, and it came up. We got perfect germination. We're super happy about it. But now all the tips of these leaves, not all, but a lot, are yellow. So if you look here, this plant is yellow and purple, and usually purple will indicate a nutrient deficiency like phosphorus, but in our case it's like a bruise and frost damage. So this field is just barely hanging on for something that we've just invested so much money into. It's just barely hanging on. I hope last night was our last frost on this for the year, at least till the fall, but it's crazy how cold it is in our daytime high temperatures. I just took my sweater off. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I just took my sweater off, but I'm still wearing this vest. It's like 12 or 14 degrees out right now, and that's Celsius, so not very warm. And you dig down into this soil, and it's cold down there. So anyways, this is a field where the sorghum Sudan came up right away. The Italian ryegrass, which is usually a really quick to germinate grass, it's not even up yet. It's too cold. So every year farming has a way of keeping us on our toes, and well, this year it's wind and wet and cold. Just when I said the ryegrass is hardly coming up, found one. Well, found 3. Just barely. And they're very, very purple at the stem too. So as we leave that field, my guts are kind of turning, and not because I ate too many burritos, but I really hope that field can just hang on. It's hopefully going to start warming up this weekend. That field, I was just looking at my timesheet here. We use an app that's called Timesheet. Creative, eh? And we keep track of all the time everything and input was put into a field. And that field was seeded on June 9th. And it is now June 19th. And so that's been in the ground for 10 days, and it's gotten at least 2 frosts since then. So it's really not doing good. But we got another field of sorghum Sudan and the ryegrass, but that field was seeded quite a bit earlier than this one, and it's been kind of pounded with probably 4 frosts. So this field's a unique situation, and this is why we love no-till drills. This is a very old pasture that's going to be converted into cropland for a few years and then back to either hay or pasture. But what we've done here is a complete no-till beginning of the crop rotation. So what we've used with our previous drill and the new horse drill is we want a lot of down pressure, and we want to be able to seed into sod. So this field has had almost no prep other than heavy harrowing and a glyphosate pass to kill off the grass that's here. And we just went straight into it with the new horse avatar and drilled in 120 pounds of Stampeder spring triticale every 13 inches. And then every 13 inches in between the triticale, we have a blend of forage brassica, which is lettuce, purple top turnips, and radish blend. So the theory here is this is the beginning of a no-till rotation. The sod is going to naturally decompose once the glyphosate took effect, which it has. This field is going to probably get baled as silage, so we'll come in and silage bale this, and the turnips, radish, and brassica is going to come back and continue to grow throughout the rest of the summer after the silage is off. The triticale will as well, but this will provide a lot of fall grazing. So if you're a cattleman, we've had a lot of success in doing a no-till beginning of a rotation like this versus coming in with some heavy tillage equipment and doing like a moldboard plow or 5 passes with a heavy disc. This is going to significantly reduce the amount of tillage cost to begin the crop rotation for a field like this. This field, in all honesty, is probably only going to need 1 pass with a VT tool, like a VT disc, a high-speed disc. All you have to be is patient for 1 year while we start the rotation with the direct seeding like we have. I'm actually shocked for how cold it is that the brassica and the turnips and the radishes are coming as hard as they are. That's very, very impressive. I'm happy to see. This field doesn't look like it needs much from us today, but happy to show it to you guys. If you guys are curious, if you're a cattleman or someone that wants to do a no-till rotation and you like what you see here, the turnips and radish are going to be very, very healthy in helping rebuild and restore the soil. But the blend of cover crop that we have in between the triticale is 30% groundhog brand radish, 50% purple top turnips, and 20% Vivint forage brassica. So if you're looking for the blend from North Star seed that we used, along with the Stampeder triticale, that's what's growing here, and I'm excited to see this field in about 60 more days. Well, coming out of that last field that you guys just saw with the sorghum Sudan, with the ryegrass in between, kind of a downer of a field, but look at this. This is again Stampeder triticale, seeded every 13 inches with forced Italian ryegrass on 13-inch spacing. That drill, I could not be happier with the new horse avatar and the uniform emergence across the width of the drill. This was another no-till direct seeding job, and look at these furrows, look at the emergence. It's perfect. Like I couldn't be happier with this field right now. The weed pressure is almost non-existent, and I do attribute that to, obviously it's been cold too, not all the weeds want to grow, but the tight spacing of that drill, the 6.5 inch spacing, we aren't seeing the flush of weeds this year that we typically do. We're usually in a hurry to spray, and this year there's not as many fields that we're in a hurry to spray on, just because I think there's a little bit better canopy, and the competition from the species of plants that we're planting and want in these fields are competing really well against the things we don't, like stinkweed, thistle, and any of the other weeds we don't want here. So looking down these rows, that makes a farmer happy. That is probably as textbook perfect that I've ever seen for my own eyes, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I'm gonna give the Horsch Avatar drill the credit on that one. Anybody can hook onto an implement and drag it across the field, but that drill did a really nice, precise job here. Well, we thought I'd show you this field. This is actually a job we seeded for a friend. This is an oat crop, and its variety is called Mustang. Again, it's just pure oats seeded at 6.5 inch spacing. Pretty happy with it. This field has some weed pressure that's coming, so I might give my buddy a call and just see if he wants to spray it. Again, this is a very, very even emergence. As you can see, the line, you can't even tell the difference from pass to pass with that drill. So again, very good, even germination. This field was seeded probably around the 12th of May. It was seeded a little on the earlier side, but this field has been very wet again. Even though it's on a hillside and really good drainage, it's been very wet and very cold here in this valley. So it germinated quick, but it took quite a bit of time to go from an inch of emergence to the 10 inches that it's at now. So anyways, off to the next field. Well, I've been complaining to you guys all day about it being cold and wet, and well, it's only 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm putting my sweater back on, and I guess I'll get muddy for you. Well, this field was only seeded about 6 days ago, and I'm surprised it's not up yet, but can't really blame it either because there's no soil temperature. It's flooded. This is the kind of stuff we've been dealing with all year. We were lucky enough to get in here and drive around only about half as many water holes as you see right now, and then it rained another couple inches. So it's cold and wet. I can see a couple rows up there on the crest of a hill where it's a little drier. It is coming up. So anyway, there it is. She's moist. So this field, I wanted to show you this one. There's not a crazy amount of yield to show you, but we did want to show it to you just because of the purple color on the triticale here. It's under stress, and it's under environmental stress. This field has gotten frost several times in the last 1 week. So the triticale is coming in strong, but it's having to endure some stress. So that, plus this is an interesting field. We actually grew triticale, spring triticale on this field last year as well because of its drought tolerance. So we wanted to do it again here, but obviously you don't want to grow the same thing back to back. So now with the new drill, what we've been able to do is we actually have a clover blend of sweet clover and berseem clover in the every other furrow. So that's our way of trying to introduce a legume into the soil and crop structure without growing a completely different crop. Triticale here last year was the only thing that did grow. We had oats and barley in this area around here, and they didn't do that well. So we did want to kind of go against the grain and grow the same crop twice, but now with the new drill, introduce some clover blend into the next furrow, and it's coming. It's pretty darn small, but it's there and it's coming. So again, I'm pretty excited to see this field in another 45, 50 days. This field is a new hay crop. This is coming out of crop rotation and going back down to hay. So this is about a 30% alfalfa, and the rest is a Timothy brome and orchard grass mix, and it is coming up well. Our emergence on hay and the grass seeds and the cover crops that we've put in has been epic, and I'm not sure which component of the new horse drill is leading to that. I think it's a combination of several things, but the starred closing wheels are working good for us, 100%. But I think the adjustability of the firming wheel and closing wheel setup is probably what's given us such good success on the shallow seeding crops like grasses and hay blends. I couldn't start to even make up a way to tell you about what the last 6 to 8 weeks have been here seeding for us. It's been the biggest roller coaster of a spring seeding season I've ever had. I've never seen moisture like this in our area, and we're coming out of a severe drought, well, hopefully coming out of it. And the ground is very dry and very hard, so this water is sitting on the surface, unfortunately. But don't want to dwell on all the things. Some of the stuff that's happened to us and around the farm, I can't make up. And I don't know, I'm not the kind of guy that wants the sympathy or anything like that. All I'll say is, holy cow, what a wild ride of a spring. But the purpose of this video is to put smiles on our faces. And well, one thing that is probably the most proud moment I have throughout the year as a farmer is this. When the crop first comes out of the ground and really starts growing, this is one of the first crops we seeded with the new horse drill. So it's been in the longest, and it's almost a foot tall. And it's a triticale crop, and we have a lot of triticale acres in this here. But yeah, just to see that crop doing so well and being so healthy, that puts a smile on my face. So instead of talking about the negatives and the challenges, let's focus on the good things and look at that stuff here. So we're gonna run with that. Stay tuned.